Now that we know that Ontario will have a vaccine passport, there's going to be lots of questions about the privacy concerns and ethics associated with this certificate. So joining me now with more on this discussion is University of Toronto bioethicist Kerry Bowman. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I want to first get your reaction to the vaccine passport system that was announced. Do you think that this will be effective?
You know, I'm going to be honest, I truly do not know. I hope it will, because, there's layers of ethical concern and privacy concerns with it. And there seems to be, look, it's mostly political, but a fairly broad consensus that the benefits of this outweigh all of these problems. And I hope they're right. There's things that worry me about it. It doesn't feel incredibly coherent knowing that staff, for example, may not be vaccinated. But in fact, the customers in the restaurant or the members in a gym would have to be. And look, I worry about equity as well. Is it really fair, especially with photo ID and who's got a smartphone and who doesn't? And I suppose I believe you can use paper copies in the early stages. But there's a lot about this that worries me a great deal.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about privacy concerns and ethics. Do you have any of those concerns? There's been some discussions prior to the announcement. Now that we have this plan here, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so here's what I don't know. And look, if it's available, I've missed it. I've done my best to stay on top of this, but it's been fast moving. Will there be any element of data storage or surveillance or monitoring with the Ontario app? I don't know if that's known yet. Quebec tells us there won't be. If there's not, that's definitely a good thing. But, there could be an element of privacy. But, I look to myself and, photo ID, I don't even have a PDF. I'm fully vaccinated. I looked all day yesterday, never found one. I have a crumpled up piece of paper. So I guess when I go for a coffee, I've got to bring a crumpled up piece of paper in my passport and hope I can get in. That's me. Imagine people that have vulnerabilities and are struggling with all kinds of things, whether it be poverty, all kinds of things, racialized groups. So there's a lot to worry about with this, as I see it.
Okay, so retail isn't included under this plan, along with a number of other essential services. We talked about grocery stores, too. Could there be an issue there? Do you think that some retail stores would prefer to enact their own system or a similar system?
Yeah, and they may. But look, here's the thing. If the intention of this is to get away from a patchwork of interventions, I'm not sure we're getting there, right? Because we don't include retail, and then retail stores may have their own policies. And then remember, it's essentially 3 provinces, maybe 4 if you consider Manitoba. That's an open question out of the 10 provinces and the 3 territories. So, we've still got kind of a patchwork. I hope it's worth it. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not an epidemiologist. I hope it's worth it. I think the discourse on this has been quite limited in a lot of ways. It's all been carrots and sticks and slam dunks. I actually see this as much more complex. And most of the voices have been purely medical. We're not hearing from a lot of other people. And look, here's an important point. The greatest threat to us all as Canadians and as to people living in this world is the global pandemic. We are doing next to nothing about that. As more variants just line up to wreak havoc on us, we're really missing the big picture. That's what I worry about as we get into the weeds with all of these types of things.
Okay, University of Toronto bioethicist Kerry Bowman, thank you so much. I'm sure we'll be learning more about this plan in the days to come. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. Take care.
You too. Time now.